Hi, I'm Dr. Brannigan, and today we have one of my favorite people ever.
You're so nice.
Becky. Thank you for taking the drive, because I know you're a ways away, so you came a long way to sort of tell your story and share what we do here. So thank you for that, and how did we get started?
Well, I have to say, I had a girlfriend who was seeing you.
Okay.
And she, the more I talked about some of, girlfriend talk, the more we talked, she said, I think Danny Brannigan can help you. I said, well, that's good, because I'm really frustrated with the medical profession right now. I'm having a hard time. They can't understand what's going on with me, and and nothing seems to be working. And parts of my life, it's taking over parts of my life that I don't want it to.
Sure.
I'm very active. I want to be active. And so my friend recommended we get together. So we did. We met in Guerneville when we were still out on the coast at a health food store.
Yeah.
And you had set up a makeshift office there. And I went in for my first evaluation.
Yeah.
And I remember, the thoughts are going through your head because you really don't understand. I mean, I didn't understand what you were doing at the time. I had done a little bit of research, but wasn't really, understood. So I thought, I'll give it a shot. And I met you, and I was very comfortable right away. You were very kind, and the evaluation was really not invasive at all.
Right.
But I remember you asking me questions at the beginning, like, how's your general health? How is your cognition? How is your sleep? How is your digestion? How is your emotional state? And all those things were very non-invasive. And I thought, wow, okay. And then you went ahead and did the evaluation afterwards. I remember you saying, there's a couple things that I want to ask you about.
Yeah, this is after I did my testing, basically.
After you did your testing on me the first time. And one of the things that I didn't share with you in that first interview series, when you were interviewing before you did the evaluation, is that I had been having, menstrual issues for a year straight, like no break, just straight. And I thought, this is a guy, I don't know him. I'm not sharing any of this information with him.
Right.
He will not understand what the girls are going through. So I thought, no, I'm not going to tell him anything about that. And so we discussed other issues, my breathing, blood pressure issues, sleeplessness, and things like that. And then after the evaluation, one of the things you brought up was, hey, how's everything going with your reproduction? How's your ovaries, your uterus? And I thought, how would he know that? Was one of the major issues of my health condition at the time. How does he know that? We never talked about that before.
Right. Yeah.
And I wasn't going to share it because I just wasn't comfortable with you yet. But I would have later. But you came up with it out of the blue, and I was shocked that you were so intuitive and your testing was so uninvasive, but you was so thorough that you would find that as one of the major issues of my health at the time, my general health.
Right.
And that was the shocker. And from that I was like, oh wow, how did he figure that out? And then I thought, because he knows what he's doing. This is really not a joke. This is not hokey pokey. He really does know what he's doing. And the more you were able to treat me, the better I felt.
Yeah.
The less my symptoms became. All my symptoms, my breathing symptoms that I was having, my high blood pressure, all my reproductive organs and those things, everything seemed to get healthier.
Yeah.
And I was generally healthy anyway. I mean, I took a lot of vitamins, I exercised all the time. I mean, that was general. But I have to say that wasn't the only thing. A couple years after that, I was on the way to Marin. I was on the way through Marin on the way to the airport to drop my son off at the airport, and I had really bad abdominal cramps, and I thought I must have appendicitis or something. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I had my son go find an emergency room. I'm like, I'm really in bad shape. You need to take me to somewhere.
Yeah.
So we found the closest emergency room, and they said, you have a large cyst on your ovary, and it's inflamed. We don't know if it's going to burst, what's going to happen to you. So you need to stay here for a little while and see what happens. So we stabilized, and I went home that night.
Yeah.
But I remember coming to make an appointment and had another evaluation. We talked about that too.
Right, because they wanted to do a biopsy, right?
So then,
and you
yes.
were just kind of like, I'm not.
So they said, let's wait 6 months and see what happens.
Okay.
So we waited for 6 months, and you treated me. And in January of that particular year, they decided they were going to do surgery because it had shrunk, but they were still concerned that it was large and it was still there.
Right.
And they didn't want to have any more lapses, big medical issues all of a sudden happen to me if I were traveling or whatever.
Right.
So they said, I'm sorry, though, we can't schedule your surgery until April. So they decided to do surgery in January, but they couldn't schedule surgery until April. When I did go in for the surgery in April, you had seen me twice from the time.
Right, so we had a little block of time.
Yeah, we had a little block of time to work
together.
Specifically on that one. And so I'd seen you twice and done my protocols twice. And I was feeling much better, hadn't had any issues. And I went in for the surgery, and they opened me up, and they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find any cysts. There was more than one that had been there before that they recognized, but they weren't large. And the large one had completely disappeared.
Wow.
And the doctors couldn't find anything. In fact, the surgeon, she went and found another profession,
like a specialist.
Another specialist to come in and look while they had me open to make sure she didn't miss anything, because it was obviously there.
It was obvious before,
And now there was nothing. And so, so then they closed me up, and they really didn't do anything. So.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember that, and you called me, I think, like the next day going, I got to tell you a story. And even I'm like, wow.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I wish they would have done an ultrasound or something before I had surgery, because then the surgery was like, okay, well, why do we open her up and go through anesthesiology and all that kind of stuff for nothing? It was gone. So, those are the two stories I have that were very specific and very eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
General health-wise, I have to say I've stopped taking as many vitamins, supplements. I don't get as much exercise because I have a 3-year-old right now that I'm chasing around. I do get his kind of exercise.
Enough,
It's a little different. And so there's different things going on in my life, but I just went to an eye doctor who said, your eyes are unusually healthy for someone your age.
Wow.
And he was going to remove some scar tissue on one of my eyes that would eventually become an issue. And he said, I'm sorry, your eyes you're just in too good a shape. So probably not a good idea to do a surgery. And so that was helpful too, because I know that all of the organs in your body have different aging rates and things, but to have this kind of good general health for such a long period of time, I started bragging about the fact that I'm 59 this year.
Wow.
And I'm extremely healthy. And a lot of that is, maintenance, but a lot of it is what I think I've seen happen with your intervention and my protocols.
And again, Becky, I so appreciate you coming down this far to tell your story.
It's a story that I believe in. It's a story that I wish other people knew how simple it was to have health this way.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you and your dedication to being the pioneer in this area with that, because it's really changed some lives already.
I know.
And I'm excited to see what happens in the future.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Brannigan Health, naturally.